Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. This is Laura with Stitchin with Laura. How's everybody doing? Hope everybody is having a great Sunday. Well, today we are going to be working on the pre-stamp kit, and I'm not sure if this was from Easy Craft Art. I didn't know if I'd written it down, so that may or may not be right, but yeah, we're going to work on her. So what is everybody up to? Let me put that back where it belongs. Yeah, we don't want to get it lost. And I'm using 152. This is very nice and easy to stitch on because it has that thinner Aida cloth. Sorry. And I've gotten this one whole, well, there's like a few, this is a little bit confettied here. So there's just a couple more symbols to throw into that corner. But I've just about whooped that corner. But I thought for stitching purposes and the video that I would just work here on the bottom because it's a little bit easier for y'all to see. Oh my, it's been a weekend. Just a weekend. I feel like I've done a lot, but yet I haven't made too much progress. So today, which is Sunday, you know, my last day, I save everything for the last day. I would just stitch, and I also have to go and do my laundry at the laundromat, but it's like 17 degrees out there right now, so that just won't be happening. I wanted it to warm up a little bit. Of course, I probably won't take Molly because it's so cold out there. She usually gets to go, but today maybe not. I'll have to wait and see, you know, how much warmer it gets. We haven't gotten any more snow than when we had, what, two days ago? So, yay. And they're not forecasting anymore until probably Monday or so. But, yeah. Okay. Just proves I can't talk and stitch at the same time. Went right over two of them. But other than that, not too much going on. I got all my running around done, except for going to do the laundry, but it's like 5 minutes away from the house. So it's not a big deal, and it takes me about a little under an hour to do it at the laundromat. So we'll get that done, and I have to be back here. Well, hopefully I'll be back before that, but by 4, because hopefully we can get the Kansas City Chief game. So we'll see if I can get that accomplished. I've been moving my, what do you call it, crates around over here. I shouldn't call them crates, storage containers. And trying to get them organized and put where they're supposed to be. So we'll see how well that works out. Just never can tell. I pretty much got everything where it needs to go. Now it's like, okay, then I might break it down, you know, go back and put all the Christmas stuff together and put all the Blackbird stuff together, or put all the Christmas pre-stamps together. You know, just so I know where things are going. But I watched Rain last night. That's R-E-I-G-N, Rain. And it's in four seasons long, so, and it's in English, so we're just going to let it play through. And that way I can stitch at the same time. But, so I stitched a little bit last night, and watched that. There were points where I set the stitching down, I was watching what was going on, and then I get sucked in, and next thing I know, I'm just sitting there and not stitching. That was the whole point of putting it on, was that I knew what was going on. Oh yeah, I get sucked down rabbit holes all the time. I was going to work on yin and yang today, and looks like I'm going to have to go to that, well, like, it's like a sewing store because they sell more stuff for material, you know, if you bought material instead of the cross-stitch type stuff. But that's where I go and get my thread. So I'm going to have to go and buy probably a skein of everything again, because there's some that I've run out of. I know I'm definitely going to need more 310 and what is it, 498? Is that other red? So, yeah. Oh, you know, just little here and there things. I made some barbecued beef yesterday, so I'll have that today, and I'll put the beef and noodles in the freezer so they don't get ruined. And we'll be ready to start a new week. We shall see. Other than that, that's about the only plans that I have. Around here, not much going on. Snow did melt off the rest of the snow, I should say, melted off my car yesterday, so I don't have to worry about, I might have to scrape the windows, but I won't have to worry about brushing or scraping off snow after it sat there for 2 or 3 days. It got up in the 40s yesterday, so, but not too much it was kind of partly sunny, you know, so not much melted off. I mean, like on the street. The main roads, yes, but here where I live, you know, it's still there. The sun's not nearly as hot. So, it takes it a hot moment to get wore off, but the main roads are fine. And like I said, I only got to go like 2 blocks to work, so not a big deal. Oh, come on, please. I do like these lighter weight canvases. They are just absolutely luscious to stitch on. I didn't even know that they existed before I started buying different pre-stamps. I'm just glad they're thin and they're thinner, and they don't cut in your hand. And this one is actually serged all the way around, so that helps a lot. It's almost like they washed the Aida cloth, if that makes any kind of sense, before they, you know, printed it. I'm sure they didn't. It's just the way that the material is made. Oh, goodness gracious. I went to bed about 1:30 last night. And pretty much slept all night. I woke up about 5 and went right back to sleep. It's like, must be light. What time is it? Yeah, no, we're not getting up no 5:30. Not if we don't have to. Not if we don't have to. Oh, goodness. But I just thought this would be nice and easy to stitch on today. Make a little progress on this one. Like I said, I've got all my ones that I'm, I'll stitch, put a couple threads in, and unless I want to absolutely just keep stitching on it, I've got them like right below where I sit. So that's always nice and easy to find. Oh, nose. Itch, itch, itch. Sure is a pretty color. It's like a pale, or like almost a medium peach. It does have more pink in it than peach would. I don't know. It's hard to explain. I'm not good at describing thread. What you see is what you see. But I really like this one too. I like this one, and I like the one with the lady with the purple dress. These two are the two that I've stitched the most on. And the lady with that blue headdress. Made some progress on him. They're all about the same size. I think this one's... Does that say? Oh, come on. Gimme, gimme, gimme. Nope. I would say it's probably 40 by 40. So it's not too terribly big and not too terribly small. Oh, and I found my Phoenix when I was trying to put stuff away. I'm telling you, I got stuff in 9 corners of this house. It just drives me nuts. Just need to round everything up. And it's not like they leave this room. Most of them. I have the beaded cross stitch in the other room, and I don't know why I moved that in there, but it's in its own container. I think I just got it out of the way when I rearranged this front room. It's about time to rearrange the front room again. Perhaps. I don't know. I kind of hate to do that because it's an all-day field event, if you will. Because you move stuff and then you gotta mop the floor. Yeah. We're not ready to start that. My back just won't be able to take it. I have to get me another thread. This thread is actually in a skein. So there's several skeins of this. Come on. Come on. Alright, get that out of my way so I don't get it messed up. Should have done a couple threads worth before I started. What can I say? But that needle on something before I knock it off. People ask me what size that needle is. I have no idea. It comes with the kit. And I have, hang on, let me do, can't do two things at once here. My little tomato, and every time I get a kit and I'm working on it, I'll take the two needles are usually, you know, at the bottom. So I just take them out and I put both of them in there, and then I pick one at, you know, out at a time. So, yeah. But I just use the needles that come with the kit. And sometimes, not too often, like I'll have a 14 count kit and I'll have an 11 count kit. I may use the 14 count kit's needle because sometimes it's a little bit thinner. Because every once in a while this Aida cloth is just a bit, I don't know, it's really hard to get the needle through. This isn't, but, you know, so I don't know what size they are per se. I couldn't begin to tell you because I've never bought them, you know, in a store. Does that make sense? Oh, come on. Be nice. I mean, I bought my 26 and 28s that I use for counted. I know what size those are. And I love using a 28 on my counted cross stitch. But never had to buy them the other way. I tried. And where is that? I just had it yesterday. Oh, yeah. So I bought these, but they're all screws. Sorry, I was trying to pull it off. These are all big, huge, ginormous. Like, if you were going to stitch a, you know, like sew an afghan together or whatever, those are yarn needles. They didn't work. And then I have another one over here, and these are, that did pull out, are very huge. They're long. I suppose you could use them as, what do you call it? Doing these. But see how big they are? They were not what I thought they were at all. And I prefer using a thinner needle. And these are like ginormous. They're like, what is that, ½ inch longer than these? Pretty much. Yeah, no, they're not going to work either. See, so I've never really, I bought needles thinking that they were tapestry needles, or they've been listed as tapestry needles, thinking I needed extra just in case. Well, yeah, no, they were definitely not what I needed at all. I suppose some of those needles you might be able to use for, what is that stuff? Like needlepoint? And I haven't done needlepoint in years. But those are practically useless, so I'll just use the containers. But if I ever need containers, you know, like if I'm packing it up to go somewhere, you know, and take the project with me and want to take a few extra needles, that's what I'll use those little containers for. Short of that, I'll never use those needles. And I do say never because, yeah, I usually crochet I haven't made something that needed to be stitched together in a long time when I knit. So, the last thing I did that I had to have sewed together was a granny square. But, God, that's been 3 or 4 years ago. I made a red and yellow granny square afghan for my daughter. But, yeah. Not much into that anymore. We used to make granny square afghans like they were going out of style. We'd knit the ones that were in strips, And we'd sew those together, but you'd always have leftover thread or yarn. Sorry, and and they took like, I think it was 5 colors. So you had two, maybe 4 or 5 colors. So you'd have leftover yarn, and she would just whoop up granny square Afghans, and she'd buy 4 or 5 skeins of yarn. That's before they had the great big huge skeins of black, and just sew them together. So yeah, that used to be a thing. But and I could probably do granny squares in my sleep. I'd probably get more done, but I love the way they look. It kills my hands because I will sit there and do literally nothing but crochet, and I'll do it for hours upon hours until the project's done. But it's just the way I hold my shoulders or whatever. I don't know if it's the couch or my fault, you know. I would probably blame me. Just the way it makes me sit. But I love to crochet. But it takes up a lot of time. And I haven't done one of them granny squares, like, you know, with the black all the way around them. And I bet you 25 years. And they're not what you call warm. They have so many holes in them. I was looking for a pattern that was more dense. So it's not like I'm going to start it tomorrow. I mean, yarn is just out through the roof. So this is much, much more conducive. Every once in a while I'll splurge, but it'll be a small project. Because I went to go buy that yarn to make the knitted one, and it probably takes 2 to 3, I think 2 skeins of yarn per strip, or like 1.5, whatever, however, it depends on how you knit or crochet. It was going to cost me over $100 just for yarn, and I'm like, nope, not happening. So, you know, it's just all in what I'm into and doing, and yeah. And that's another thing I can do blindfolded is knit. Especially on that knitted pattern, because it's just got a pattern 1 row, knit 1 row, and purl 1 row, and that's it. And it makes one of those ripple little pieces of fuzz today. Ripple Afghans, but it's sewn together in strips that are probably, what, 10 inches across, you know. And I couldn't get my gauge right, so it's a matter of having to take this. It's called for like 8 or 7 needles. Number 8 or number 7 needles. So I'd have to take it down to 5 just to get the gauge. So, yeah. Because I tend to knit real loose. So, I haven't had the desire to do those again. So we'll see. I just go through phases with my knitting, you know. It's just something I got to do right now, and then it'll go on for about 5-6 months, and then I'm done. It just the way I am. But this has been pretty consistent, you know. I like the cross stitching and that kind of thing, but much better. I still have to get that shawl back on those circular needles, which is just too much fun, I'm telling you. And try to add some more length to it. I don't know. It is what it is. It's funny how it just goes through stuff. And I can't do the knitting in the summertime. That thing is hot. Got it. Looks like a splinter at the end of my finger. I'm not a clue where I got that from. So yeah, it just kind of comes and goes. But stitching's been more of a year-round thing for me. So I came real close to buying some one of those embroidery kits they had at a store. One of those that I reviewed, and then I thought, no, maybe not. I don't know. I mean, it's not like I don't know how to do those stitches, because those stitches I can handle, but just changed my mind. I used to do embroidery all the time. I would embroider, like, draw a pattern onto one of those chambray shirts, the dark blue ones. I draw it on there with chalk and just make up my own pattern. I did an owl on a branch one time on the back of one of those chambray shirts. That was the big deal, and did it all in long and short stitches up and down, you know, for like the feathers and stuff. And it turned out really good. Then I put little flowers around down the front of the shirt. And just freehanded it, but I haven't freehanded for a long time. I have a plan, but sometimes my plans are very loose plans. And I did embroidery kind of like I painted. I never drew anything. Well, on embroidery I had to like draw a loose outline, but I knew what I wanted to decorate it with. But when I painted, I never drew anything out. I just started in and put a sky in and then the background and just went for it. It turned out, it turned out. If not, not so much. So, we'll see. So I was thinking about, you know, grabbing one of those little embroidery kits. Would probably take me about a day and a half to finish one. So, look for that. I may get busy and get something like that. I haven't done it in so long. But I used to have all those little, I want to say Jiffy kits, or I can't, they were by Sunset or Sunrise, or, you know, everybody my age knows what I'm talking about. And they were more like crewel kits, some of them. Some of them were crewel kits, and some of them were, you know, embroidery with thread. So, I'm not much to stitch with the yarns. I can do it, I just don't care to. I like stitching. If I have to do embroidery, I can do it with the thread much better. But we had tons of those kits when I was little. They'd get me them for like Christmas or my birthday or whatever, and I'd just work on them. And whatever happened to them all, I have no clue. Yeah, that was back when I was like a monogamous stitcher. I would just do one and get it all done. And yeah, what happened to me? Here we are. Little Miss work on 12,000 things at one time. Holy cow. We have evolved. I never got into, they taught us how to make crazy quilts back when I was in high school. Oh God, yeah, the quilt from hell. Sewed it together on the sewing machine, and you know, you're in a classroom, so they have like a bucket, you know, of all different kinds of materials. People had their scraps and stuff, and they just put them in there. I was pulling colors and material left and right, and I'd sew it all together. Well, I was sewing the knits with the velvets, with the wools. Oh yeah. We washed that thing the first time, and the whole thing just went, it got tweaked. Yeah, so needless to say, I didn't know crap about making quilts. But I always wanted to make, where I started with that, was one of those crazy quilts. You know, my great aunt used to make crazy quilts with silk ties. And they'd have bazaars because they belonged to the Rebeccas, and, you know. So somebody was always having a bazaar back in the day. And she'd buy up all these silk ties and make them into beautiful, gorgeous, you know, quilt tops. But she would do like the feather stitch and all these fancy stitches around the edges. I just wasn't old enough to grasp all that. So I never learned how to do the feather stitch and all the other fancy, fancy stitches. I mean, I could do what I needed to do on embroidery, but, you know, we're talking basics like outline stitch and couching, excuse me, and lazy daisy stitch and the French knot. But I really wanted to learn how to do that feather stitch, man. That was just like the ultimate to me in my brain. Because she'd make those things like in strips, and then she'd use that feather stitch along the edge. Oh, yeah. She even made my doll blankets. Come on. In like postage stamp size. They'd have little squares. I bought one some put away. Are about an inch square. And she had a treadle sewing machine. Go figure. Yeah. I really was disappointed when I took home ec for the first time that we didn't have treadle sewing machines. Yeah. Rude awakening. What can I say? So, I always thought they were wonderful. But she sewed everything on her treadle sewing machine, so that'll show she was probably in her 60s when I was a small child. But yeah, could have learned a lot if I'd just slowed down about 5 minutes and sat down. Because it's not like she wouldn't have taught me how to do these things, because she probably would have. But, you know, you live and learn, and here we are. So, but yeah. But yeah, she'd make my dog quilts, and they had nice, like a fuzzy flannel back to them, and they had that satin seam binding, if you will, around the edges of them. They were gorgeous. Yep, here we are. That was another thing I always thought I wanted to do, was make one of those postage stamp quilts. But she would tie her quilts. Now, the silk ones, you know, she would make the tops and then she would tie them. I don't know if it was because of her age. Shoot, she might have been in her 70s. I don't know. Yeah, she was my favorite person. She was just something else. my other aunt would make Barbie doll clothes. Yeah, she had boys, so she was all about, you know, Barbie had the most fantastic wardrobe you ever saw. All custom made. Yeah. So I had some artistes in my lifetime. I just wish I'd taken up their wisdom and sucked it in when I could back in the day. I don't know. Somebody should be going back in time and kind of jerking a tail in your knot and say, sit down, listen to these people, you know. They know what they're doing. They can show you this, they can show you that. Bizarre. Yeah. So you wonder why I am like I am. Oh, goodness. Alright, guys. Well, crap. We got a little bit of that done. I'm just going along and picking them out. There's some over there I missed. It's kind of hard to see. There's these circles, and then there's that blue symbol right there, so. I don't know. Trying to get my needle threaded again. So yeah, I've had a lot of artistes, and I call them artistes. They were my heroes, man. And I always wanted to just stay at home and stitch or craft or whatever. Book learning was just, God, I gotta get through this. Holy crap. Yeah. Just never mattered to me more than the art part. Got my daughter diamond painting again. She finally got, they have like a coffee table and it's about 2 feet tall. Well, not 2 feet. It's not that high. Maybe 1.5 feet tall. It's pretty low. So she had to build up the coffee table with some, she has some great big books. You know, huge coffee table books. So she kind of built herself a layer so she can, oops, doing it wrong. Lay down her diamond painting and not have to bend over so far. So we'll see. She's got 2 Zelda cross stitches that she got from Amazon, I believe. They're beautiful. They're about 40 by 50, maybe. I'm just kind of guessing. I know they're no bigger than 50. So it must be 40 by 50. Because it's long and skinny. One of them's wider than the other, but they're just beautiful. But she wanted to work on them since she's at home. And the kids were at school. And the cats take a nap during the day on her bed, so she figured she was pretty safe. She didn't think she wanted to stitch yet. She just... So I'm just kind of backing off and letting her do whatever it is she wants to do or feels like doing. This is kind of a confetti piece. It has like 1 or 2 of a different, what do you call it, symbol, just scattered. Like here, there, here, there. So you have to do 1 stitch at a time. It's insane. Why did they do that? I know, they're just trying to get a little bit of that color here and a little bit there. But it's irritating that I only have to do 2 stitches and then go on, you know? It's just nuts. And I have no idea in A Man in the Moon how they print these. You know, I'm sure it's a computer-generated thing, if you will. Wouldn't you say, people? And then it just, a big machine just prints them off? I don't know. That'd be interesting to watch, how they do them. I saw how they did diamond paintings. That was kind of cool. So I'm assuming it's like the same thing. Just guessing. Just guessing. Alright guys, well I think that's going to be it for today. Thank you for joining me with the stitch along here. Just needed some more stitchy time. More stitchy time. Ugh. Didn't get too much done. Just kind of, like I said, it's like here, there, here, there. I could have gone with that color. I should have, and it would have filled it in, but hey, we're getting there. One stitch at a time. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe, and please hit the bell, and that way you'll know when my next video comes out. Stay safe, stay healthy. We'll see you next time. God bless. Bye-bye. Keep stitching.